Let's turn now to some factual distinctions between Madoff and Bayou. Let's assume that we lose in this argument about the good faith rule being wrong, and let's assume the should have known standard is applied in Madoff. Are people at risk? Well, as Jeff mentioned, there are a number of enormous distinctions between Bayou and Madoff. Jeff mentioned one or two of them. He mentioned the very important distinction that in Bayou, the people he went after were people who fully redeemed. He didn't go after the people who partially redeemed. He had reasons for doing that, for not going after them, that may not apply in Madoff. That is, he was able to get a result that pretty much made the victims, put the victims on par with the people who had redeemed, equalized the returns to everybody. But the key point is it's going to be very hard for the trustee, Mr. Picard, to go after people who only partially redeemed. Because what does it mean that you only partially redeemed? It almost certainly means that you didn't have suspicions of fraud. Because if you had any suspicions of fraud whatsoever, you probably would pull out all your money, not just some of it. So to the extent that subjective good faith matters, to the extent it's not a completely objective test, and it could be argued that it's entirely objective, but to the extent subjective elements matter, and the Bayou judge thought they did matter, that's an extremely important distinction. Now, there are some people in Madoff who fully redeemed. Our sense of it is, and I think most people's sense, is that the number of people who fully redeemed is relatively few, that there's a huge number of people who pulled out a lot of money, may even have gotten profits, but didn't pull out everything. That's one distinction.